Hello everyone, welcome back to another Jacy Project podcast. We're calling these ones Let's Talk, and this time, as with the last couple, we are talking to Ish Beloso, the lead developer, the lead builder of the Jacy Project. How are you doing, Ish?
I like the word builder better than developer. We're trying to be unique.
Tell me, how are you doing, Ish? Well, why builders? Jump in straight away. In summary, why builder as opposed to developer?
Well, I think with the Jacy Project, we encourage every person in the community to be a part of it, and I encourage everyone to be part of the building. Developer seems very, limited, in my opinion. I think when you think of the word developer, you think of people that are high-tech, computer geniuses. With the Jacy Project, humanizing the blockchain, I want to look at every holder as a potential builder, someone that has influence, someone that we can help brand. I think every person is an entrepreneur, really. That's how I look at it.
Good. Okay, so look, we're trying to keep these answers short because I don't want it to be a massive podcast. We do have a habit of making these things much longer than we plan. This issue, I'm sort of putting you, I'm throwing you in at the deep end to see how well you can swim. I have faith in you. This is called Let's Talk Community. So today, if you stay tuned to this podcast, in the second half of the podcast, we're going to deep dive into the toughest questions within our community. But before that, I would like to just discuss a few things. So what's been happening with the Jacy Project? Actually, before we do Jacy Project, how's your life been in the last week, Elisha? It's been a busy time. Are you okay? What are you doing at the moment? Outside of the Jacy Project.
But my work life has been pretty busy. So, I'm a physician by day. And, there's exciting developments on my side projects. I'm also a songwriter. So there's developments as we're preparing an NFT that's collaborating with one of my co-writers. And there's exciting developments with, that songwriting aspect too. So it's busy but fun, full of promise. Of course, I have a family that I cherish very much. So they're number one in my book.
And on my side, I'm just going to, because I think it's important that people understand who we are. Very briefly, on my side, I've been away for the last 3 days, communicating with you from a hotel room at like 3 a.m, and then getting up and filming with politicians. As I said, I was doing, directing a project with some politicians involved, and very serious stuff. Actually, in your sector, sort of like healthcare sector, for 3 days. Very political, very very interesting, very serious. Lots of discussion, not so much this time about blockchain, but a lot of discussion about digitalizing everything, digital asset management, etc., at the highest levels. I get a lot of good information from it. So, what is happening? Any updates on the Jacy Project? You mentioned someone from Uganda. Do you want to tell us about anything about that?
Well, the Jacy Project has a charity-centric component, and for those that really watch us carefully, the charities have not stopped. We've continued to help those that need assistance, and there are many places in the world that need assistance. So I've been recently, through the Jacy Project's help, helping these children in Uganda. Someone named Sharon, let me see if I can pronounce her last name, Sharon Nakabirwa of Uganda, who helps these children without parents. She provides for a home, and she provides for food. And it's just been interesting. The Jacy Project has helped with a couple months of rent, and she's corroborated, of course, all the things that she's doing, even providing food for the children. It's easy to just want to help everyone. So the Jacy Project involves itself with people that corroborate themselves, and so before we send any funds, we want to make sure that it's legitimate. And so this woman named Sharon is legitimate, and basically we stepped in when there were some funds that were not coming in. She's a hard worker, lost a job, and so at least for the past couple of months, we've helped to provide stability for her and the home that she runs with other children. Good woman.
We're going to do a full Jacy Project charity podcast, or 2 or 3 over the next few weeks, months.
Of course.
But that does seem to be in a time of turmoil, which the last 2 or 3 years within sort of cryptocurrency markets have been. It does seem to be a consistency or continuity with the Jacy Project. There have been continual donations to charity. They're not the biggest donations in the world, but is that of your making that seemed to be a consistent throughout? There's probably been it's been a consistent. There's been constantly small donation here, small donation there, and that was small to us, but big. They have quite an impact to the people they're going to.
And we have a charity wallet. I mean, there's funds there. There was about 3.3 ETH transferred, and most of that is still there. So, I give where I can, and I reimburse myself when I feel the need to reimburse myself. But for me, as the leader, of the Jacy Project brand, I keep it alive, and if I need a reimbursement, I will. And just to be transparent, and those that watch the blockchain, any reimbursement given to me, I just buy back Jacy anyway.
Good, impressive. I know this, and I think it's good that you're able to be honest and transparent about that. So just to confirm then, so you generally sort of, at the moment, you decide where the donation goes to, you then make the donation out of your own wallet, your own wallet, and then reimburse yourself occasionally just because, and then you buy back Jacy with the reimbursement. Cool?
Yeah, and with the previous team, they reimbursed me pretty regularly. They would ask on a monthly basis what I've done. So, but because our budget has been so low, I want to keep a lot of our development charity funds intact as we're preparing the brand and reestablishing ourselves as a legitimate crypto project. I mean, we've always been legitimate. It's just that we haven't had, good sentiment, if I'm to be honest. I think a lot of people were burned from the past 2 to 3 years bear market.
So talking about sentiment, I'm going to go into this. Now, from a marketing perspective, I have questioned all week whether we should do this. I think we definitely should do it. It's more a case of facing fears or facing tough questioning, facing people challenging your integrity is never a thing that you sort of willingly want to do. So I think that we should address some questions or some comments within our community. Tell me briefly, before we jump into these, what does community in a blockchain sense mean to you?
Well, in the blockchain and Web3, I believe community is everything.
Web3, yeah.
It's one of the, it's paramount to the success of any project. I mean, a project can have good utility, good purpose, but without a community, it's hard to progress. There are tech projects that have, are in place or are successful based on, ICO or IPO money, where large investors come in. And even some of those big projects are down. Like, for instance, a project like Jasmy or XCN with big millions of dollars coming in, both of which are 97% down from 97% down from inception, not from all-time high. And it's interesting that they're finding some semblance of a big rises in the past month. And so those that bought that dip from those two projects, which I have myself, I am an investor and I'm a lover of the technology, and reaping good benefits. I'm a holder. I haven't sold any Jasmy or XCN. It's just an example of something that's still 98% down, yet have millions of dollars in market cap, and is alive. Jacy, last time I checked, we're at 81 or 82% from inception, and with only 3,000 or so legitimate holders. So I think we're primed to fly, in my opinion. I'm not afraid. I'm glad that you're on board helping with the marketing and providing these kinds of services. I know you're a hired partner, so to speak, but to me, you're worth it.
It's a tough job. It's like, I won't go into the details of what you're sort of paying me for, but I'm delivering. I'm doing much more than than what the invoice.
I know that.
You know what I mean? Same as you. That's why my point being, I can relate to. We're on it, even though I've 3 days working here, but I just get back to my hotel room and I just switch on, talk to you, and we'll work out plans. And you're the same with me, and there's other people, Flower, etc. So look, I'm going to jump straight in.
It's a lot of work. I think the community needs to know, since we're doing this podcast, it's a lot of work, and a lot of work that they will never realize, in my opinion. Like, even for you, I probably pay you pennies for what you're your value is. Yet you spend the most time, with me and the project. I think, you find, I think, a semblance of purpose for this project. And I kind of like that you're gravitated towards it. I'm definitely a seeker of good talent. And as you stated in previous podcasts, I'm glad that we're working together. I've sought after you for a couple of years.
And I've hung around for a couple of years because I've had faith. I've always liked your style. I like the fact that there was a big charity component to it. I liked the fact that it was a salvage project. A bit like when you take a car that was a luxury car in its day, and it's pretty much, it's as close to sort of finished as it could be. But people decide to take on these projects and bring them back to life. And that's really how I see this. One of the notes I sort of made over the last couple of days was, why don't we just start a new project? What with regards to the community? Because a lot of the community say, there's some negativity. And there's a small amount of negativity that I feel we need to address. But why don't we just start another project? Why don't you just say, hey, David, hey, Flower, hey, good guys on this team, let's just go and start a completely new project. Why don't you do that?
We thought about that. In fact, there were disagreements on that component. In fact, we were so close to even changing the name at one point. The name Civil was pondered upon, and we would have already perhaps migrated, and that would have been, a second migration. In my opinion, in observing, now, here's what happened. I'm glad it didn't happen, right? Because in looking back, a lot of the projects that did stuff like that, and I know several projects that did that, like we start over, it was never the same. Meaning, moving into a newer contract actually made it worse.
I agree.
We have there's a brand already that's in existence. There's a name. People know about us. I almost feel like if we had started a new project, it would create a lot more confusion. And at that time, you were not on board. The communication for this would be, in my opinion, not very successful. We would be undermanned. There would be many questions of regarding migration. I just didn't have enough hands of help, and there was not enough good sentiment that I believe a migration number 2 would have been successful. Definitely not as successful as the first time, where there was a lot of people rallying around the Jacy token as we saved it and turned it into Jacy. Now, in my opinion, it was almost serendipitous because we were trying to launch a governance token called Civil, and then the ones we were trying to launch that with ended up being a rug. So it didn't happen. And I believe that was not a coincidence, because what ended up happening was we continued and we pursued. And actually, upon speaking to you, brother, right, your advice was to keep the name. You seem to like the name, and I listened to a professional like you. And to be honest, the Jacy Project, Jacy, that name is a lot more memorable than Civil, right? So
absolutely.
For what it's worth, we're here still, and we're chugging along, and it's a perpetual contract. I want people to know that are listening, contracts in the blockchain are perpetual. Something can be 98% down from inception and still make it. Bitcoin has gone from $2, $3 all the way down to less than 10 cents. This is all factual information. And where is Bitcoin now?
Wow.
So the power of smart contracts really is determined by utility. I think it's determined by the strength of its community, which is good sentiment. And you know what? Leaders are important, because leaders ensure that a smart contract is professional. Now, take a look at Bitcoin, though. Bitcoin doesn't have any leaders, right? So it's just the first of its kind as a technology. I think Ethereum introduced the concept of smart contracts. I believe it's Ethereum. There may have been another blockchain that provided that. But Ethereum is exciting because it allows for people to rally together and create these, smart contracts. And I think it's changing the way we think. We have to figure it out as humanity. We have to figure it out as blockchain enthusiasts to work out a way that allows for longevity and long-term success to be at the forefront. And a lot of it involves, creating utility, creating purpose, and giving people the opportunity and a reason to hold long-term.
I'm going to go into a comment on CoinMarketCap. This is from someone called Left Said Fred. It was left here about 2 weeks ago. Hi, Left Said Fred. Left Said Fred, I hope you're watching. I hope you're listening. So we're going to start dealing with some of these questions. So Left Said Fred has said, Jacy, a way to help those in need? $1,000 invested in Jacy a year ago equals $150 today. $1,000 invested in Bitcoin a year ago equals $2,750 today. Ask yourself, could you help more people with $150 or $2,750? Where has it all gone? And then there is a sort of an ill, looks like an emoji with an ill face. One with a long nose, one with a sad face, and then one with a sort of stunned face. And then the hashtag says, "When you know, you know," which was our old sort of like, you used to say it to me. We use that in our marketing. When you know, you know. So that's a tough read. Before I ask you to jump in on that, you come back to me. So. Yeah. Ultimately, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings when you hear that? When you're doing all this work, and so you're
sure. No hard feelings. It's the facts. But I think you know the answer, right? Like, people sold, and so the project doesn't have many holders, and so when a project doesn't have many holders, when a project has, let's say, poor sentiment, we undergone changes of leadership. There was misunderstandings and disagreements with the way the project would be handled. The brand, in my opinion, the marketing wasn't handled correctly, in my opinion. Well, people sold. And so, we had at one point around 4,000 holders. Currently it says 3,700, but a lot of those 3,700 wallets, I think, are dust wallets. Many people have simply sold. I think what people need to realize is market cap is not the same thing as liquidity. Now, liquidity that's in the pool is determined by buys and sells. And so the reason that perhaps that person that bought $1,000 is at $150 is not the same as someone that bought $1,000, let's say November of 2021, when the price point was a lot lower. And so a lot of those people that bought in November 2021, for instance, would be at a much lower buy point. And so a lot of those people cashed out. And so, in my opinion, I don't know when that Left Said Fred bought the 1,000, but I have a feeling that that person bought at a much higher market cap. And so I think what people need to understand is when you buy at a higher market cap and then the price of the token is lower, you're going to be at a much lower price point. And so, and with regards to Jacy, what has happened is we're actually below inception price. It's just the nature of tokenomics. It's just the nature of the token. Now there are taxes. So there were, of course, Ethereum that's been shared in the development and charity funds, and so we are perpetual. And in my opinion, I think it's a great opportunity. Like, in other words, where we're at right now, if you believe in the project, if there's good sentiment in the project, now is the time to buy. In the same way, now is the time to buy Jasmy or XCN, which are both 98% down. Jacy is currently 82% down. And so I think I don't want to educate people on how crypto works, but I think the masses need to understand that if a person buys at a market cap that is much higher than where perhaps most people bought, the people that bought at a much lower market cap will probably sell at a profit, and then it will take new buyers, new liquidity to help those that buy at a much higher market cap. And that's why, in the last podcast, we've discussed the importance of NFTs, because NFTs secure liquidity much safer than a token. The previous team and the current team realize this now, that token prices are so volatile, especially when you have a small community with low liquidity. NFTs itself, the project keeps 100%, right, of NFT sales. Now, of course, for us, we have a distribution of 90-10, 90 to charity, 10 to the project with our first NFT. But with every NFT, it will be different. So NFT sales, in my opinion, which it's a fact, is a lot more secure liquidity that allows a project to be able to handle. In fact, if I was to do this over, I would probably start with NFTs first, and then create a token from the NFTs, and then allow people that hold the NFTs the value of that NFT with regards to the tokens that they will inherit, if that was a new project. However, I'm learning from this Jacy story, and I think this is a story that we can glean upon, perhaps even like you and I have discussed, like Netflix and documentaries, right? But it's a great learning experience of the blockchain experience and humanizing it. Now, in my opinion, the Jacy Project will unleash tokens in the future. We've discussed this in even I think a podcast from last year, and we will do it that way. If I was to launch other tokens under the Jacy Project brand, I would definitely use liquidity pools that's garnered perhaps in an NFT, through art, through music, through video. Generate income from that, and then create the token thereafter, and then only work with people that are trustworthy, only work with people that I know, all in the same vision. I think the reason that the price is so low is because disagreements, impatience, poor communication. It was all there, but we're learning and we're navigating, and we're gonna carry on.
I'm going to jump straight into the next. The next person is called De Hammer, HAMMA, Alec Garabedian. He's left 3 comments, and then I want to go back to the top comment because that's got a couple more comments. So hear me out on these. So it says Dog, DAWG, anything the Jacy team touches turns to, I won't say the word. In this case, Dog, I won't say the word. Then another comment a couple of weeks earlier, a month earlier, saying Jacy back again to let you know how much Jacy is a scam with suspect leadership. And then a week earlier from that, Jacy scam, stay away. Now I laugh. We shouldn't laugh because this is very serious stuff. But I laugh because I don't see in any way what we're doing. I wouldn't be involved in a project that's a scam. That I would consider to be a scam. So I have faith that you're not. I then want to look at so Left Said Fred, our buddy, responded 2 things. One, he said Urban Dictionary. Let me see. Oh, I can't check that. I am going to click it. 1 minute. Give us 1 second. Inverse Midas. So he's left a quote saying Inverse Midas. Do you know this, Elisha?
The Midas touch? I guess, I don't know.
It's the opposite. So the effect of turning everything into SHIT, the opposite of the Midas touch, where King Midas was said to turn everything he touched into gold. The act of it's kind of funny. I get this kind of like why I like the community. I respect we need to talk about this. The act of foul, to blunder, to make a snafu or a catastrophe, and then an example. Bill, that guy has the inverse Midas touch. He can't do anything right. George, it's just a snafu. Could happen to anyone. So let's go back. So that's and the final thing that Left Said Fred. 1 minute. He said, true dat. Jacy, Candy, Tiger, Dog, all trash. If you lie down with the dogs, you'll wake up with fleas. Good. I like the poetry in there, Left said Fred. So, Elisha, this is tough talking. Why should people listen to this? Should they listen to this? What's happening? Why are we getting these posts?
So it's funny, like what that's implying. Now, granted, every person in any token or cryptocurrency should have the freedom to promote other tokens. Now, the other tokens mentioned there were not run by Jacy. Now, several past team members and current, I was a part of that. So in other words, I helped shill Dog. I helped shill Tigger.
I didn't.
Because I wanted to save my investment.
I just want to be clear. I didn't. When I saw it happening, I thought, guys, what are you doing? I think we had a few words about that, didn't we? But either way, carry on.
Well, the Tigger and I think Candy, some of those tokens were born when Pepe was born. So there was a part of the community, and I don't know if I should mention names, but like Andy and actually another guy named Hammer. So not the Hammer. So the Hammer and Hammer are 2 different people. They really pushed the old team to push Jacy. And the old team didn't think it was ready to push Jacy because it was still a bear market. And so in the impatience of some of these community members, we or they decided to push other tokens. Now, I just simply bought Tigger. I bought Candy, right? I bought some of those other tokens that's mentioned, a dog. And I'm not the dev, but, everyone knows me. Everyone knows who I am. But, I'm free to invest too, right? I mean, with dog, for instance, this is a good lesson. Like I had an $800 investment. At one time, it was like $12,000. I could have cashed out, but I never did. If people looked at my wallet, they'll see that I never cashed out my dog. In fact, I did now. Like I'll be honest. I switched from a dog to Swifties. So Taylor Swift, but I'm not promoting Swifties publicly. No. So in other words, I'm an enthusiast, right?
I hear you.
But there's a lesson here, brother.
I hear
No, there's a lesson, because even with Tigger, even with Candy, there were opportunities to buy at a big profit. I personally never sold, and I think I didn't sell because of the lesson inherent to it. I wanted to see where it could go. I had a feeling it would probably bottom out, because the bull market wasn't around the corner then, when it was around the pivot time. And in my opinion, the accusations being made, or the conclusions being made, is simply inaccurate. Now, and also for the record, there will be people that may not even be watching CMC or CoinGecko, but they're listening to this. We've known, past and current team, that it's typically the same 4 or 5 people that make these accusations, and then they just change their name into someone else. Now, granted, if they're different, I think it's good to address them. I like the fact that we're addressing them now, and simply to let everyone know that, look, we've run Jacy. The current team that runs Jacy may invest in other tokens, but we're learning now through your advice, right, to really focus on one publicly. And I think that's an important lesson. Even for someone like me, who I have about 12 to 15 tokens that I come in and out with. Jacy is definitely my largest hold, but it is also the one that I want to lead to triumph. Meaning, I am willing to listen to a professional marketer like you who brands, multi-billion-dollar projects. I want to listen to you, and I'm learning as someone who was just a $400 investor on Jacy, now kind of like entrusted this project. And so the things that people are saying out there is, in my opinion, a false conclusion based on how a community of people that don't know each other are simply thrown in together, muddled into this thing that we're running a crypto token. Now, granted, too, is the lesson too is that most crypto holders are in it for the profit, and so when their profit is down, they don't see the value of the project any longer. When they're down, not recognizing that it has nothing even to do with the leadership. It's just the sentiment of the global market at the time. And of course, the sentiment too. In other words, leadership had something to do with it, because there was changes in leadership. There was confusion. Everyone was kind of not ready to keep waiting. And in not waiting, a one cell would lead to another cell to another cell. So it's just multiple people seeing in their eyes a sinking ship. And fear is like a domino effect. In the same way, love is a domino effect. And I want to show, moving forward, that in the same way fear can create a downtrend, we're still around. I think last time I checked, 250,000 market cap, and it can go the other direction just as quickly once there's good sentiment. That's the power of blockchain technology and smart contracts. Now, I've created articles on Medium over the course of the past probably about a year now, maybe a year and a half. No one pays attention to those articles, and so I tried to educate others. Now, I have original ideas, original content. I do allow ChatGPT to help me create these articles within minutes, but it was funny that in trying to educate the community about the perpetuality of smart contracts, people were just not listening. And even the Hammer was a part of the Telegram thread, and his, what's not being made public here is even him wanted a different approach. His approach was to go on, exchanges and go all in for marketing. And this was months ago before the bull market. So in my opinion, marketing money would have just been blown. And then a lot of people don't realize that it costs to be in exchanges. For me, the strategy for being on an exchange will be later once people know what the token is, because what happens, a lot of the exchanges will take a percentage. It does cost, and in my opinion, it's good to start with that off an exchange. I'm learning from other projects that are successful off an exchange first, so that you build a community, maybe 10 to 15,000 people first, and then you go on an exchange. It's more stable that way. Otherwise, an exchange can be an avenue for dumpers.
Yeah.
A lot, like for the SHIB, when SHIB came on Coinbase, it was dumped. It went down. I mean, it went up for a little while, then it dumped.
I'd like to interrupt with one thing here. I'm gonna in a minute. I'm gonna read one more big block of questioning, and then we leave this. I really value your time. We've been 20 minutes, 15 minutes on this. One of the things that, when going back a little bit, you mentioned about people sold. That's partly of the reason why we're down. From a marketing perspective, and I know we've talked of this before. And another thing, when you say educating people, now I'm looking at this from a marketing perspective. When you say educating people, I'm not so sure that the people in the community at the moment we should be educating them. They should almost learn by their own mistakes. That's just my perception. Educating people how to onboard onto Web3, entirely different. That's a really good angle. That's our angle that we're pursuing as like the concept of the Jacy project. And using those liquidity streams to fund growth, etc., and charity, etc. I love that. My thing that, from a marketing perspective, with projects, with regards to people sold, what you really want from a marketing perspective is for for the early holders to hold long enough so that when people start to make their profits and they start to sell, it doesn't tank the project. It's actually sold in a way. I remember with Saitama and Bitcoin before this, but Saitama was a new era because there were more people using social media, much freer. So people were literally posting a picture of their truck and saying, purchased with Saitama. And that person sold. He was like, hey, I bought in at this stage. I'm out, guys. Made $80,000 in however long. Been a wonderful project. Posts his pictures with his family, with the truck, and that is the best sort of marketing you can get. So I want people to sell, but from a marketing perspective, I want people to sell because I want people to profit. I want people to grow with these things. They say, don't invest what you can't afford to lose. And if you get to a life-changing amount of money, then change your life. It's good. That's what we want people to be able to do with these projects. And there were various sequences where people, early investors, the smart people who bought in early, spent $1,000, 120 times profit, they sold. And and from a market perspective, that brings more people in because people are going up. I mean, it got to a big enough sort of market cap that.
Well, can I chime in?
Yes,
I don't want to lose the thought. But you realize if someone bought at 1,000 and take out 120,000, that 120,000 came from other people's pockets. You
of
get
course.
That right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree with you with regard to the need to educate people. I think people need to be educated on that. So in other words, someone that bought that left-handed. So if they bought 1,000 and then see their invest at 150, they probably bought it at a much higher, and then they were exit liquidity for somebody else.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you that I wish more people that profited from Jacy, because there were several. Now I can name names.
Yeah. No, don't name names. But
there was a guy that was actually
names.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to mention names, but there were people that had multiple wallets and basically, in a way, run the project. Right now, a lot of them stayed, and then I think when the war happened and then the FTX thing happened, a lot of those multi-wallets stopped. Even there was some within the leadership, there were some shakes. There was some disagreements. One past leader wanted it more centralized, creating an LLC. Another leader wanted to keep it decentralized. And I think those two big leaders disagreed, and then one left or was kicked out. It was very clear to me. And then I think when that shakeout happened, many followed the other one, and Anyway, again, it's disagreements, miscommunication, small community, like less than 3,700. Well, like I'm even thinking, in truth, I think Jacy probably only has about 1,000 legitimate holders.
Yeah.
Who even care? Like, if anything, like the people who care probably less than 100. So we're at ground zero here.
I completely agree with you. I'm going to just jump straight into, now this is quite a long one. I want to read it. There's a quick response I want to read, and then we talk for 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap this segment, and we just say we sort of get ready to wrapping this up this podcast. So again, from Left Said Fred, this was posted January the 9th. Jacy, double speed. So he's quoting here a previous comment. The previous team worked tirelessly for 18 months, taking the project to its all-time high. That's a quote from a previous comment. And he has responded, actually, Jacy hit its all-time high just a few weeks after relaunch, thanks to the crypto bubble already in progress. The previous team then scrambled aimlessly for 18 months, leading Jacy to its all-time lows in a delusional belief that they were crypto geniuses and could somehow recreate the all-time high with zero tech skills and an inability to grasp even a basic understanding of how to manage a project. Unable to learn from their failures, the previous team... No, I'm going to finish this, but I want to say something before you do. Unable to learn from their failures, the previous team squandered the development funds, all the while hiding their failures from the community and claiming the next big breakthrough was coming soon. With no money and only the B team rejects left over, I think that's us, the project now flouls aimlessly in all directions as the rest of the industry leaves them behind. You know what? I don't want to be tough on anyone who's put in their time into this project. I hear where this... I hear that. Now, there's another post, small post, that I think I can't find it. I've just clicked the wrong button. I kind of hear that, so I don't think it's our place to throw...
You know what's funny? I kind of do too. And
I want to just sign off one thing. I don't think it's our place to throw anyone under the bus. We took over, or you took over from a particular date, and with marketing, I've said very clearly, you've got to leave the past. We focus on what we've done today. We keep our side of the street clean. So... hit me with that. So without throwing people under the bus, should we throw people under the bus? Is it our business to criticize what other people did?
There was definitely some skill with the previous team. Now, a lot of it was untapped.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So I'm going to agree and disagree with what you say. So I agree on that part. There was definitely some skill there. Please continue.
Yeah, there was some skill, in my opinion, untapped, and also there was leverage. The guy that was supposed to create the app was definitely not as good as advertised. And so he was one of the first to go, I think the second to go from the old team. And in my opinion, when it was handed to me, Jacy, and when the Rabbles was handed to Tracy, we were both asked if we wanted it. Otherwise, if we did not want it, it would have been just renounced, and then I think it would have just been at the 5% tax. So I accepted the challenge. So it wasn't where it was just the head of the B team. I accepted the challenge, and I'm ready for the challenge. And in my opinion, I don't think we're the B team. If anything, I'm trying to create a team of where the leaders are in unity. So, and that's why I don't consider the July date or July 9th or whatever as the date that I really took over, because when I took over, there was still a lot of big heads trying to control the narrative.
I agree completely. It took 6 months, really.
Well, I feel I really took leadership December 12th of 2023, which is just a few months ago, because that's when I basically just took control and decided to work with people who I want to work with. And I work, and what the community may not realize is I'm working with people all over the world. I have a team in Colombia. I have a team in the Philippines. Perhaps people that you don't even know about, creating things. But I am creating a trend in those two countries. So strategically, I'm teaching people in the Philippines, teaching people in Colombia, the relevance of the Jacy Project, and I'm working with brands over there to perhaps want to create NFT or liquidity streams with us through the power of education, through the power of charity. So charitable organizations over there that have a national brand relevance. And with that, I believe we can create a purpose. One of the things that is important to me, important to Dee, one of the leaders currently, as Web3 education. I want to leave it at that. I think there's importance in creating liquidity streams that will allow for legitimate Web3 education in perhaps some of these countries where Web3 and blockchain education is much needed because people don't even know about it.
I hear you.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
I think I kind of went all over. It's my ADHD, but
no, sorry. I think it's really good. I just want to see if there's anything here that I would like to address. In a delusional belief that they were crypto geniuses and could somehow recreate the all-time high with zero tech skills and ability.
And let me clarify that. I think the previous team basically don't claim to be geniuses. At the end of it all, it was just, you know what? The community is no longer valid. The community has given up. And there's an explanation in the Telegram thread. It's all there.
Yeah.
By one of the leaders, and it's basically explained. Look, I'm no longer interested. It's causing too much stress in my life. I wanted to focus on my family. So and here you go. So it's a simple fact that they essentially realized they couldn't run anymore, or in a direction that is manageable. Perhaps for the way the brand was run. If anything, previous leadership said that the only thing that was working was charity, and they wanted to turn it into a solely charity token. And in fact, some of the websites being created was solely charity. And there's a big component of that as the Jacy Project, but my vision is far more than just a charity-centric token. For me, it's building liquidity streams and unleashing the gifts and talents of brands, artists, musicians, etc. And it just so happens that the past 2 years have coincided with a rise in my ability or connection as a songwriter. I'm taking up an entertainment attorney that's very known in the music industry, also the movie industry. So that excites me, and I think it's a divine coincidence. That in my rise in my personal life kind of coincides with me leading this project. And I think my personal life will benefit this project in time. And I appreciate you, for instance, like these podcasts I think are good. And I believe you see value in me. And more than just a value as an asset, but I think you see me as a friend too.
You're very similar to my lifestyle, although we're different lifestyles. But you're... Basically, everything I do in my life generally leads into another thing, into another client, another project. It's sort of, you know what I mean?
I want to inspire people. And also, in fact, these things inspire me because I like the fact that there's drama, right? Because in my opinion, I want to use this to be an inspiring story in crypto one day.
Yeah.
Where, we took a project that was 98% down and then turned it into something that's doing charity all over the world. I mean, there are people that still believe in the project. In fact, just for the record, I think there's a lot more silent supporters than there are loud haters.
Yeah.
The loud haters are few, in my opinion. But the many that are quiet, many of them are my friends because I brought many people into this project. I have, an Apple executive in the project. I have several, doctors, attorneys that are in the project. So some good people and they know the volatility involved. I've warned them of the volatility. So I have a good, solid 30 holders that are all, I think, probably the top 100. And they're waiting. And I have messages for them, and I prepare them for the things that we're doing. And right now it's simple. I want to see the NFT market. I want to trend love is the answer. I want to trend the ability of a musician or an artist, I don't know, even a real estate agent, like to tokenize assets through the power of smart contracts, Web3, NFT.
I want to interrupt.
The bull market.
You have a leadership position outside of the crypto, outside of the Jacy Project. Is this your biggest leadership challenge? And can you generate confidence in the old community? Because we often discuss where we want to go. New community, old community. I'm a believer. We get the old community on side while seeking new by doing by doing projects that will bring in new people. That should we never neglect a holder. Never ever neglect a holder. That's just my maybe it's an old school train of thought, but that's how I'm a traditional marketing. You look after the people that have invested with you, and more people will come. But yeah, is this your biggest leadership challenge? And do you think you can generate confidence to change this sad narrative, because it's very disheartening to see this when you spend,
Yeah.
we've sat up till 3 in the morning,
so,
and then we read
I am
these.
a leader. Yeah, so I'm a leader. So I'm a medical director for a couple institutions. I lead a company as medical director where doctors are sent to the hotels. I'm a medical director for a company that is for hospice. So in other words, I make decisions for patients that are at the end of life. I'm a medical director for a third business. So I'm a medical director for a medical cannabis company where I qualify people for the use of medical cannabis in the state of Florida, where it has to be medically qualified. So those three institutions are vastly different and require different leadership skills. Now, a lot of those, if not a lot, those three institutions are very organized. So in other words, everything is done in accordance. We have meetings, so everyone's professional. Everything is under a standard. If anything, the cannabis business is very simple. It's run by a family, and then I'm their doctor. So I just see patients, and it's very easy peasy. What's interesting? I don't consider Jacy a challenge. It's funny. I consider it as a legacy. Like, in other words, a dream come true. I almost feel like, I guess it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I embrace, and I kind of like having it in my hands because I trust myself. And I trust myself to surround myself with people that I trust that will help the brand, because I think long term. I don't think what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't think what's going to happen next week. I'm already thinking about where we're going to be in 2030. I want to be in a position where Web3 blockchain technology empowers people, empowers them to have a semblance of owning their brand and their influence. And I really believe in unleashing the gifts and talents of people, because I simply believe that there's many people where they're gifted. Like, maybe they can sing or they can do art. Like, my daughter can do art, and they're unable to unleash themselves. And so what I see is I see assets in the community. I saw you very, very early as someone that I think can brand, and it so happens that that's what you do in real life. And so I've surrounded myself with people that can make documentaries, people that can make music videos, people that can help unleash my music. I'm now surrounded by like professionals, man, in the Christian music industry. It's been exciting, and I hope to bring the power of the Jacy Project NFT and liquidity stream generation to these people. With Kaya Jones being the first to unleash her song, which I co-wrote with her, and she asked me to sing in it, 2 years ago. Love is the answer. So it's interesting that we have a Grammy winner singing with a blockchain leader, and then an up and coming riser in Kiwi Morse with our NFT coming. I think there's beauty in that a Grammy winner would want to sing a song with a physician doctor who just likes to sing. Well, I lead worship at church. I'm not a nobody as far as singing. I can sing, but that's beautiful that she would collaborate with someone like me. A 47-year-old singer, a father of three, and there's beauty in collaboration.
Yep.
And in so doing, I believe that if this is not a challenge, I guess it is, but for me, it's a legacy, and me taking it over is just another thing that I want to take, to thrive. Another thing that I want to succeed in, and I'm learning as I go through it. But to me, it's easier with the support of a good community and talented individuals, which I have surrounded myself with that, because I can't do it alone. I need a team. I need a community.
I'm just reading through more of those comments. It's a tough read. Some of it I some of it I can understand. Some of it I think maybe the information's slightly unfair there. And some of it is just misinformed. So I get about a third of it. I get about a third of it. I could question, and a third of it I disagree. So you mentioned so we're wrapping this up. Nearly an hour again.
Sure.
I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. It's just correct me if I'm wrong. You're off to a theme park this afternoon with your family.
Yes.
So before, I just want to highlight.
So we may be stuck at home.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that this is your first week. I know that personally, this is your first weekend off in about 3 weeks, and You're taking your family out. Finally, you're spending some time with your family. But before you do with the family, you're sat here with me doing a podcast. I know you got up very early to do this. And I just think those things aren't necessarily seen, you know. That's like so to me you come across as super committed to the project. I just want to round off I felt we had a good week sort of discussing the Kaya Jones NFT. This isn't all about Kaya Jones, it's about an NFT. But tell me your thoughts. This week there was we had a few issues uploading. We went through a learning process, didn't we, the last week before. Where are you at? How are you feeling with it? What are you talk to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to this week. We're about to launch the Google News Newswire of the collaboration of Kaya Jones with the Jacy Project. So that means that'll go publicly. Many people know Kaya Jones as a public figure, and so that collaboration will probably catch on some news. It'll catch some eyes. So we've been, preparing her website because she is a brand that we're helping with the Jacy Project. So we build her website. We still need to update our website, by the way. So I think, my website designer is waiting for your recommendations.
We've been discussing a lot. This week has been quite a lot about websites. Now, I just want to credit you for the Newswire because it's from a marketing perspective. So I'm always looking at things from a marketing perspective with regards to the Jacy Project. From a marketing perspective, it's a more of a traditional way. So putting in a Newswire is we send a press release and it goes out to the news agencies. The more you pay for, the more the wider the reach. I think that it's. I'll be honest with you, it's a tough area to break into, but it's a great habit to get. So when you're small, like we are, we're not going to get much traction from doing that. But a couple of stories a couple of news agencies might pick it up, and it's a really good traditional way of reaching out that I think so many projects need to do. They need to look at the old school ways of marketing. There are news wires where you can get your content out to news instead of just posting on Twitter. So why don't you just put that money into Twitter advertising, let's say?
Well, I think Twitter is a limited audience. A lot of, for instance, Kaya Jones fans are not on Twitter. I used to not be on Twitter before Jacy, so I got on because I think it's important for people that are in the blockchain Web3 to be in it. I mean, Twitter could be one angle. The Google News is it just goes all over. I think we do have a publicist now with the Jacy Project. So she's a personal friend of mine that works with the Tampa Tribune part-time. She's a housewife, working part-time at the Tampa Tribune.
If she listens to this, because we haven't spoken, I love what she sends. When we send her a text and then it comes back, I think that's what I want to see. That's the level I expect to see.
Her name is Kristen, so she's amazing.
Good find-ish. She's really cool. I like getting that word. It's just, it makes my life so much easier to be able to send it off to somebody competent and just get it back. There you go. That's exactly what I was after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, look, let's wrap this up. 53 minutes record time. Final thoughts? Anything you would like?
It doesn't feel like 53 minutes.
No. We can talk very. We have no problem filling time. Is there anything that you would like to sign off with before you go and hit some roller coasters or whatever it is you're going to do? The ups and downs, the highs and the lows of the roller coaster. There must be something.
I do.
Go on.
I do. Love is the answer.
Good. I told you that last time, didn't I? Well done. See, you learn. This is good. That's why I like working with you. I tell you, if ever anybody says anything you want to do, anything you want to say, love is the answer. Is where we're at now. Excellent.
Love is the answer.
On that note, well done. You get an A in England. The marking system, you would get an A star for that. Very good. You passed. All right. Good.
Love you, brother.
I'm educating you. This is great. It's a full circle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ish.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Really good, insightful, and you're educating me because a lot of the stuff you say when I hear it, I think, man, that's really you're saying it really well and really calm. Being under a lot of pressure, and I think I personally believe you're leading the project very. Don't get me wrong, you make mistakes, as do I, as does everyone. Such a tough environment, but I think the way that you've learned from when we first started talking, probably over 2 years ago now, to now, it's just been incredible. I can't wait to see where you're at. I want to sign off on my thing, actually. You said 2030. I can't wait to see where we're at in 2 years' time. All of all of the industries and the sectors that I work with, and this is sort of short-term offers and things like this, the majority of them set a long-term goal of like 2030, 2040, 2050, etc. And and this is what I was explaining a few days ago. We set a goal, and then we look at what we do to achieve that goal. And what do we need to do to make that happen? And I like the idea of looking more 2030 as opposed to, August, so
Sure.
Yeah. Good.
No, you've been a great help. Like, I think this podcast is good. I think it has purpose, and who knows? Maybe we can revive the Tiggers of the world and the Candy. Like, I don't know. I'm just speaking out loud. Like, in other words, smart contracts are perpetual, and what I mean by that is, I think there's ways through D-apps, through my tech partners, to work with Brew Labs. That there's ways to connect everything. So just kind of hit. So I see power in perhaps tokens that have failed, and perhaps there's ways to revive them. I don't know. Just I don't know if I should have said that, but
no, it's fine.
End this the way you feel it needs to be ended. But.
Yeah, this is good. So I'm going to sign off now. Then have a great day with your family. Stay in touch with me. Goodbye to everyone who's listening. If you are still listening, you are very, very special to us. And I would ask you to like, comment, subscribe, share. We're getting a little bit of engagement with the podcast. It's nice. It's so small, but I like starting. So Leadership Challenge. I like the challenge of starting with zero and building it up. And I've done it on so many brands or being involved with brands.
Jesus started with 12, right? Start with 12. I think we have more than 12 already.
Exactly. There you go. So we've already got the platform, that the table is already laid for us. We just need to make it happen. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff, Elisha. Very good. Appreciate it.
Right.
And
God bless you, David.
speak to you shortly.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.